Hello, everyone, and welcome to Scaling Consistently, Module 17. In Module 17, what we'll be covering today is the consistent scaling strategies. So that way you're able to consistently improve your results and get more spend deployed into your ads manager so that way you can continue to scale up. And then the time frame and data view for scaling. That way you can understand the look back windows that make the most sense to look at before you actually make your adjustments. And then number 3, tracking accurate data. So that way you can make the most sound decisions and ensuring that everything that you did was precise and accurate for the change that you made. Here's our roadmap. We are currently in scaling strategies. So scaling for consistencies. Scaling for consistencies requires patience, it requires data, and an understanding of what the data is telling you. Before scaling and adjusting budget, you need to look at the time frame from a month view, a last 7-day view, this week view, yesterday, and today view. What that essentially means is when you're in your ads manager and you choose the time frame, a lot of you have, maximum set, you have different time frames set, but you need to adjust your time frames when deciding whether or not you're going to scale or adjust budget. Before you do so, always adjust your time periods by looking at the month. What does the month say? How many purchases or results? All right. What does the last 7 days say? How many purchases, how many results? What does this week say for that time frame? And then check yesterday and check today. This is going to give you a full view and ensure that you have all of the pieces and timeframes checked out. So that way you're 100% certain that this is an audience that you want to scale. And if you notice something after you switch these views, you'll be able to catch it because these are the windows that ensure that you take all of the right, precautions before making your adjustments, giving you a much higher outcome of being able to, consistently scale. So if an ad set has sales on a month view, let's say it has 10 purchases and, you have a good return on ad spend and you have a low cost per result and you're happy with that on the month view. But then you look at the last 7 days and you notice that there's been 0 sales. In this case, even though you've had a good ROAS, a good cost per purchase, and you had a lot of sales at the beginning of the month, well, that audience after, you look at the last 7 days has had 0 sales. So you would turn off this audience. Another precaution you can take is if you see no sales in the last 7 days, go inside that ad set and look at the ads in there. If there are ads that have been turned off that had these sales attributed from the month view, well, should those ads be turned off? And if not, you could reactivate them and keep that audience because that's where the sales came from. If the ads are on that have previously gotten those purchases at the beginning of the month and you still don't have any sales in the last 7 days, then you're going to turn this audience off because it's no longer performing. Now, if an ad set has not had sales in the last 3 to 4 days, so no sales in the last 3 to 4 days, but has gotten a purchase yesterday or today, you will keep this ad set because there's a chance that this ad set could break out and start performing. You might have just recently launched this audience and you didn't see any sales until very recently, like yesterday or today. And if so, you'll keep this because there's a good chance that it could start performing. And so you'll at least give it 48 hours to see if it gets purchases. If it doesn't, you'll turn it off. If it does, you'll continue to give it a 48-hour window until eventually it starts picking up on its own. The next thing you're going to do is consistently scale your winners and pull back spend on losing ad sets. We defined what a winning and a losing ad set is in our previous modules, where now if you see winners, you're going to start to scale those. And if you see ad sets that are not so, well at performing, you're going to scale those back. So let's go ahead and look at an example.
Made a couple changes today, bumped the price up again, $5.
Boom. These purchases keep coming. It's like every single time we check in, sales are going up.
Yeah, well, I was gonna show you
So just real quick, already a lot has happened here. If you remember from the previous module when we looked at this, his sales were about half what they were, and his cost per purchase was about $27.85. And he's gained more than 20 purchases in just a matter of a few days. And his cost per purchase during scaling, he's been scaling up over those days for that week, and his cost per purchase only moved by 4 cents. That is called consistent scaling. If ad accounts are scaling and you're seeing big increases in cost per result and, big swings in your return on ad spend, then, you're not really achieving that consistency. So you have to take it, with patience and slowly, do this process. And literally added over 20 additional purchases just in a matter of a few days and only saw a rise of 4 cents in his cost per purchase, which is really nice because this process is going the way it should be. So essentially what's going on is, we see now from the previous module to now, there's a lot more purchases that have been added in here. And so let's continue to play this out to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Every single time we check in, sales are going up.
Yeah, well, I was gonna show you like the this tracker is way more accurate. I know people are talking. I did just get the Search IO stuff set up for Shopify, but as far as ClickFunnels or anything else, it's not
Yeah,
Shopify.
we have that integration on our upcoming, but we
Yeah,
got to get enough people who are on
this is
ClickFunnels.
working great. I'm literally pulling from Facebook API here and Stripe and ClickFunnels and PayPal, so it's like these are real numbers. But probably by the end of this week, we would have at least paid off this course. So that's a huge
Boom, you're
milestone.
crushing it. That's
So
the goal.
within 2 weeks of signing up. So
I
that'll
love
be a
that.
good testimonial. Yeah, so 57, it's awesome. Like we're loving this. So and one question I had, so I was kind of skimming through this. There were some audiences here where we're getting like, sorry, $67 purchases. Would you just go ahead and kill this because it's only gotten two in the whole time of running ads, and they've both been pretty high.
So go to the ad level. Let's see what the cost per purchase is on the ad level.
Yeah, they were like 58.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are pretty high.
So just kill the whole ad set.
Yeah, you can, or you could, yeah, do yesterday and then today. Let's see if they came in as of recent. It's always a good metric to
I don't
check.
think so.
And then do today.
So yeah, today.
So last 7.
It was this one right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Now do last 7.
Last 7.
Okay. Yeah. Turn it off. All right. So what just happened there? A lot is really went down, but essentially what we did was he had a question around should he cut that audience, right? Because when we look at it here in this time frame, he has 2 purchases on it, but it spent $134. But the audience above it has 3 purchases at 23 cost per purchase each, and it only spent 71. So essentially, if he would have, used this budget in that audience, he could essentially have gotten, about 3 times the number of purchases. And this one's spending a little bit more because initially it was working, so it got scaled up, but now it has tapered off. And after we saw, we verified by looking at yesterday, no sales, so we know it hasn't picked any up. Then we looked at today, and so we know that, all right, it still hasn't picked any up. So there's, no chance as of recently that it's showing signs of working or potentially breaking back out again. And then just to get full confirmation, we look at the last 7 and we notice it had no sales overall. So that's an indicator to us that not only today, yesterday, and last 7, no sales, we can turn this off. And that's going to add an additional $25 daily spend into audiences that are actually producing results. That $25 added into an audience that is right here, like that World Graham Cook or Coke. That one right there, that $25 there is going to add in an additional 2 to 2.5 purchases a day just because it's getting a cost per purchase of $11. And literally not having to scale at all, just moving the budget is automatically going to scale his results, giving him more consistency. We also notice this dashboard here that he put together. He is a developer, so he has this understanding of, coding things, but he's on ClickFunnels right now, right? So he put this dashboard together because he understands that from our trainings, you have to have accurate data to make the most sound and accurate decisions around what your ads manager is saying. And here you can see quite literally, he already almost paid off the, Q&A calls from going through the trainings. And right here, just over the course of time, you can see that his results here, his revenue and ROAS is increasing, day by day. He's profitable. He knows what his return on ad spend is. And you can see his new customers is increasing as well overall. So that's really good. We checked the ad level as well to confirm that, there wasn't an ad in there that maybe had both the purchases at a really low cost per result and the other ones might have had all the spend. It wasn't the case. They actually just weren't performing in there. So this audience just wasn't doing well. So it made sense to turn off. Last 7.
It was this one right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Now do last 7.
Last 7.
Okay. Yeah. Turn it off. Cool. 86 and no sell.
Cool. And I'm just slowly like increasing this, and you can see our ad spend is just going up. I think we're at like 150 or so. We were down at about 50 when we started. So that's good. I think
So keyword scaling slowly. And then where he started, those are the keywords, right? He started on the 13th with his budget. It's around $18. He's gotten it all the way up to 150. That's actually, going from $18 to 150 daily is pretty quick if you think about it. But it was over a course of, about 15 days, 16 days. of scaling, 15, 16, 17 days of scaling consistency. So you'll see here that on day one, once we launched, he saw purchases. So it made sense to initially scale up all of those winning audiences, and then saw that one or two audiences were getting multiple purchases. So those got scaled up some more, and got here to where he needed more data to be able to decide which audiences got purchases, because there was a lot of audiences that had multiple purchases and they all look pretty even. So there was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 day period where we pretty much, he, had to leave the spend alone to get enough data coming through to understand what it is that was actually working. Once there was a better understanding of where the purchases were truly originating from, scaled up some additional budget, nothing too crazy, just 15 to $20 extra across a few audiences, left it for a couple of days. Then Christmas and Christmas Eve came, pulled budget back because those are low buying days. And then right after, picked up where the budget left off and has continued scaling based off of what the purchases look like. So that is, the scaling process. It's done consistently and it's done in a way that isn't extreme. You didn't see any, crazy jumps day by day. It's a matter of adding, just a few dollars a day. And over the course of time, that's going to compound and add up fairly quickly. So you'll see here, scaling for consistencies does require patience. You can't just do it all in one day. You have to have the right data and an understanding of what this data is telling you. We're just looking at these charts, but over here on the left-hand side is the amount spent from the 13th to the 29th. And then on the right-hand side is the 13th to the 29th revenue broken down by ROAS as well. So you'll see that these charts look fairly similar, and it's because the consistencies are working. You'll notice every single time that the scaling is happening, revenues are increasing. And when he, is scaling, he's also achieving a better ROAS. So that's actually a really good sign, because if your ROAS is continuing to climb, that means there's a lot of opportunity to continue to scale. Now, that doesn't always happen. Usually during scaling, you see a decrease in ROAS, which is, not a negative thing. It just means that you're getting more out of your, budget because you've scaled up and you could have more customers. But the thing is, during the early phases, when you're scaling consistency, these are all great signs. Even on his highest scale day, the 28th, 145 daily spend he's up to, and revenues are hitting $299 and a 4.35x ROAS. That is a very, very good indicator that things are going very well. He has an overall average of 1.78, which is profitable for him, but his ROAS as of recently is trending much higher, right? So that's really a great thing overall. So as long as these numbers continue to point up, he'll continue to scale until he hits a point of where the results plateau. So this is why it's important to understand your data, because you can actually visualize and have a good understanding of where things are going, which ensures that you're making the right decisions. And as you know, and if you scale up and you have the opposite effect where results start to trend down, you now know the protocols from previous modules that you will just, scale back and go to the metrics that were originally working. And so having accurate data, making decisions on poor or inaccurate data can be a recipe for disaster. You need to know the exact number of results you're getting. Making decisions on scaling when you have accurate data allows you to scale faster and more precisely, giving you better results and consistencies. If you're on Shopify, you should sign up for surge.io so that way you can start tracking up to 100% of your purchases from your ads manager. Is a tool that's going to allow you to get, accurate data, so that way you can have a better understanding of where your actual purchases are coming from. As you saw in his ads manager, he had a certain number of purchases, and then also from what was tracked on his actual, ClickFunnels side, he noticed that there was a lot more purchases, which is why he had to put that dashboard together to get a better understanding of where his sales were coming from, because he's able to make more decisions when you have more data. And so if you're not on Shopify, you should check the Surge.io integrations page to see if your platform has been added to Surge yet. And if it has, you should sign up. So that way you can start tracking your data more accurately. So in module 17, what we covered is consistent scaling strategies. We went over the time frame and data view for scaling, where we looked at what windows you need to check, like the month view, 7-day view, this week view, yesterday view, and today view. So that way you have a full understanding of what the picture looks like and ensuring that you can make the most accurate decision when adjusting your budgets. And number 3, we talked about ways that you can track accurate data and ensure that you're making decisions around information that, has been gathered from the right sources. So that way you can scale consistently. I hope you enjoyed this module, and I will see you on the